I know. I'm Jacob. You're taking this too seriously. We're about to talk about Mean Guns, starring Ice-T and Chris Lambert. On
So
the way
then-
down, by the way,
Lambert.
like Chris Lambert,
Lambert, yeah.
on his fall on the like the very end of his meteoric fall. The dude, can we? I don't even know
Yeah.
where to start with Mean Guns.
Please, yeah. Well,
What
first of all,
is it?
please enlighten me on the fall, because I literally only know this guy from this and Highlander. So what is this meteoric fall we're talking about?
Oh, well, it's like, I mean, I can pull his IMDb up, I guess, but it's like, I think right before this movie came out, the last movie he did was Highlander 3. And at that point, it was like, okay, so Chris Lambert and one producer are just trying to cash checks off of like straight to DVD trequel, you know, not even just the sequel. Obviously Sean Connery was out of it forever ago, you know, like after the first one, I'm pretty sure. I only know that he was an A-list star for a couple of years. I think it was mainly off Highlander. Apparently,
It's got to be, right? What
yeah.
else? What else?
Well,
is
that's
there?
and I think it's just the Sean Connery Highlander thing carried him the same way like a lot of actors, like, you know, made it through the early aughts just by way of like, I worked with fucking whoever. But the other thing, apparently he's very hard to work with. I can't remember the source. It's a podcast, like a film podcast I listened to, I'm pretty sure. Apparently
I believe
he is,
it. With the line deliveries in this movie, I fucking believe it.
apparently he's very hard to work with. Apparently he is very inclined to be like, nah, let me give you like a rewrite. Let me like make that line better. But the other thing that's very interesting with him, especially because he's like an action star, Chris Lambert is like legally blind without glasses or contacts.
Really?
And he refuses to wear contacts on film. Like, he doesn't like it. So in this and the Highlander and any movie where he's doing like action scenes, the man cannot see the stunt double he's working with. So I think in the Highlander specifically, there's a couple scenes where I'm pretty sure he like injured or like just straight up like hit someone in the head with a claymore because he doesn't have any idea what is going on around him.
Oh, that's too good.
And I mean, and then you look at Mean Guns, which Mean Guns is an interesting movie because it's, I guess I start with the dedication. It's dedicated to the man who is credited with like inventing the
indie
idea.
films.
Yes.
Indie films.
Yes. Which is like, I don't know what service or like accreditation bureau like did that, but so it's dedicated to him. It's made by a man. I had it pulled up. I'll try to pull it. The guy who made it has made a bunch of indie films. He made the first live action Captain America movie. Albert Pyun, born in Hawaii. The dude's still alive. He's famous for The Sword and the Sorcerer, Cyborg, Captain America, and Nemesis. Notice that Mean Guns is not on that list. So we watched Mean Guns from a list of like bad movies. You know, the guy, much like Neil Breen, works in a like absurdist part of the indie film genre. Yeah. And Mean Guns is a testament to that. Mean Guns is a testament to like, I don't know. Do any of you have a good way to like sum it up in a couple words? Because I don't.
Yeah, Brennan, it's all you.
What can I mean, like, how do I sum up Mean Guns? Mean Guns is just wild as fuck, and it's the best vampire movie I've ever seen. That's what else is there to say?
There you go. Yeah, Jacob, did you get vampire vibes off of it at all?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of like
too. Okay, good.
Yeah, there's a bunch of close up on people gritting their teeth. Yeah. Which might just be like, Brennan, you and I
honestly thought that it was going for like a From Dusk Till Dawn thing. Like it was
Right,
going to be
I
one.
thought so,
Yeah.
I thought we were doing that turn. I thought that turn
Nope,
was
it
gonna
is
come.
exactly the movie prescribed.
But
Like,
it's
there is
hilarious
no
because
choice.
because now that you mention that, I remember, like I said, I that moment happens when they're all going in the beginning, and we get the close up on the teeth, and I was like, oh, we're gonna have a twist later on, and I completely forgot about that until by the time we got to the end.
So you're talking about that close up on the teeth right there.
Yeah.
And
Of the security guard.
I just want
Yeah.
to
like 10 minutes
exactly. And what I want to so I wrote
Yes.
3 notes. I wrote notes for Mean Guns. I didn't write notes for anything else. I wrote I wrote notes for Mean Guns. And it starts off with like Ice-T offering to play chess like he's death in The Seventh Seal with like Max von Sydow. So I just had a very funny idea of the Seventh Seal with Ice-T. The other note I wrote is that Ice-T is a vampire, and because he's doing a lot with those teeth and his eyes, the whole thing. There's a lot going on there. And then the third thing that I would like to lead into, which we can backtrack on the vampire, but the third thing I would also just to mention is gunshot credits.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
The
the credits are pretty awesome with the way they make music out of gunshots and like Mamba.
Where did you find music in that? I just heard
They play Mamba music behind it, and the gunshots are
so
like
much
edited in.
fucking Mamba music.
I mean,
in this
well,
goddamn
yeah,
movie.
this movie is-
Baby Driver, who?
yeah.
This movie is
Exactly.
so pro Mamba music, it's incredible.
Yeah.
There's only one time where it worked for me. There's only one time where the Mamba. It's like towards the end after Lambert. And Rob, the gangbang scene where maybe the almost gangbang, which we can get into, but there's a scene where Chris Lambert is like hiding behind a wall, and then he pops off from behind the wall with akimbo pistols, and the Mamba music is going. And I was like, that works.
Well,
that
anytime Mambo music plays at a certain point in the film, it is like a cue for action to happen. And I want to just say, so like, to get it all out there, the beginning of the movie is just the syndicate, the crime family,
Oh, you mean
known as just the syndicate, has
the syndicate.
has brought
the one from the Mission Impossible franchise, I guess.
Yeah, the syndicate. From the. Oh my god! So the syndicate has like brought together all of the criminals that they employ into a maximum security prison that is closed. It's about to be open, so there's no one in the prison yet. And all of these criminals are the ones who have betrayed the syndicate. So the whole thing is that we are going to put 100 people in a prison with $1 million hidden in it. And then
10 million, excuse you.
Oh, I'm sorry, 10 million. 10 million. Well, the briefcase
Rob's just
full
making
of
the movie
money.
better. Rob is just like accidentally making the movie better.
Well, $10 million actually justifies it way too much. But so the goal being like you'll all kill yourselves over the money. The weird thing is Ice-T as this angel of death, like master of games, vampire, he himself is involved in the killing, so
for only a little bit.
But no, throughout the thing, he kills like 7 of these people, and it's like it's like the dungeon master killing players. I don't think you can roll crits on players. So the premise is set up that it is just all these bad people brought in a room to kill each other. And it's Fortnite. It's Fortnite in 1997.
Well, real quick, just on that note, it's not just the dungeon master killing players, but it's also like, if you are in Ice-T's position, why are you putting yourself in danger?
No, I know. It's like,
why are you not just waving the whole thing out?
Well, that seems like the kind of thing at like a performance review would be like, Ice-T, you did a great job in this prison, but like you did not need to put yourself at so much risk. I mean, you're putting the syndicate in financial strain potentially.
In some cases, flat out like challenging people. Like, let's see what.
Well, and there's this thing. People keep saying.
Yeah.
like you've been in management, so you've lost your edge.
You
like,
don't
you're
have
not
it
a killer
anymore.
anymore. And it's like, he very clearly is more skilled than every person, including the main character who finally kills him. Spoiler alert.
So one thing about that, I think this movie is also a serious case of like Ice-T is not in it enough.
Yeah.
But to that extent, he was given other people's lines. So he's fighting with one guy at one point, and he says a line that if you just put this in the other person's mouth and rephrased it, that makes sense before a fight. But he says, now it's time to see if I think I'm as tough as I think I am. Or something like that.
Yeah, he's like presuming both sides
Shouldn't
of the
other guy have said that?
Yeah. Well, and there's that other thing. He gets after. Okay, so like, I want to get there, but I think we need to just. So the plot is over.
We gotta
There's no
walk
more
through.
plot. Like we've gotten to the moment.
Well, actually, can we get to before that real quick? There is a terrible limo rant that is just like awful.
Yeah.
And it's about how the one guy doesn't like profanity, and it's just terrible.
Yeah.
It's really
it's
bad.
It's a lot of like on the bus on a field trip.
Right.
The teacher hears one kid say hell, and then all of a sudden all the kids are like saying hell under their breath.
Yeah.
It's
so
this movie's so bad.
And then from that I would like to just say action cuts, as Rob and I were calling them. Because it's the cuts that make that noise on the cut. It's crazy. It's super disorienting. We get into the area where Ice-T is about to lay down the rules for all the people he's gathered there. And instead, he lays down this fucking gem. The best laid plans of Moon and men often go awry.
Oh yeah, his
last
name.
He's Vincent Moon.
Moon.
So he replaces mice with Moon, which is just awful. And then there's a shot of all the people in the room as we're going through. Mm-hmm. And then I texted Rob because I was laughing so hard at the lone shot of a biker with a massive beard.
Oh, dude, yeah.
It made me laugh so hard. And then Ice-T multiple times, like for 10 minutes, is asking any questions.
Yeah.
Every time.
And also pretending like he doesn't know anyone else.
Okay. Yeah. Rob, I think you're about to get there. I'm so sure you're about to get there. But what I was going to say is, like, the first person to ask a question is the biker guy that I like. And I think he's like, what in the damn hell
He's
is going
just like,
on?
what if we don't want to play?
Something like that. And Ice-T blows him the fuck away. And I remember being like, no!
He blows him away and then yells, then don't! And continues with the rules.
That's what it is. But it's also like, okay. And then he asks any questions again. And so in any other movie, you do that, and then people have no questions. Yeah. But in this movie, for whatever reason, it takes like two people asking questions and getting fucking blown the fuck away.
Understand the rules of the game.
And not only that,
and then Bear,
sorry, no, go ahead.
Jake.
I'll come back to mine.
No, you got it. You got it. You please.
It's not only that. He said he keeps on saying. I think he says it maybe like 4 or 5 times. Any other questions?
Yes, it's like
the rules. There's a conversation maybe like 20 minutes later where the two characters are talking about how the rules are still unclear.
Two twins.
Yeah,
two twins.
Yeah. Well, that is like. And like,
Rob,
also
you can go into the twins. Rob.
Well, I'm gonna get there, but I also want to add to with Ice-T, he not only kills like 7 people after the game begins, he has already killed like 5 people by the time the game starts. Okay, because the movie kind of boils down to like every Quentin Tarantino character that was rejected from Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
the one thing that I kept on thinking in that car conversation where he's like, I hate swearing, I was like, this is something that Tarantino wrote as like a thing that he could possibly put in his movie somewhere.
Well,
and then was like, I don't like this.
Wrote
this
it on
isn't
a
good enough.
Big Kahuna Burger wrapper, he threw out the fucking
and
and Neil Breen found it.
Yeah,
In a dream.
yeah.
In a dream
Neil Breen is
found it.
actually Albert Pyun or whatever. So this movie, it's just it's all like trying to do that Tarantino dialogue, trying to do very cool archetypes. Like I just want to bring to everyone's attention the female blonde like action lead of this movie is the bride from Kill Bill years before Kill Bill came out. I mean, like, to a T is that character.
Yeah.
I mean,
wait, what? I'm sorry.
which honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, this movie could be, the Syndicate could be the group Bill works for in Kill Bill. Now that it's all...
I don't like this.
Yeah, it's all coming together for me.
I don't like this.
I don't like what you're saying. I don't like the implications of what you're saying here.
It's all just, it's archetypes. It's like, you have the bride from Kill Bill, the like strong blonde, like Charlie's Angels girl who was like also a Marine, I guess.
No, why is she the bride from Kill Bill? Why? What
Just
what
a blonde
about
woman who kicks
her
ass.
She literally like speaks.
Just being a blonde woman that kicks ass?
No, she speaks exactly like her. They dress very similar. Obviously, like
What
they
are
look
you
the
talking
same, but
about?
they have like the same like kind of grumbly like female tone.
I can
They are very
kind
like,
of see it, but not
Nah,
quite. Like,
no,
I think
none of those outfits are
if
similar.
anything,
Are you
am.
really pushing back on this?
if
Yeah,
anything,
I am.
if anything, I would just say it's another bad ripoff. Like I don't like.
But it came before.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
my thing. Is like is Kill Bill? It's
did it?
Kill Bill is only this came before Kill
When did
Bill.
was this like late 90s or
This is 97.
97?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like early, like around the
No,
same time.
but it's. I'm not saying Kill Bill is that original character either. It just is that like
I mean,
it is
yeah,
that
yeah.
thing.
Okay.
God, you guys are fucking terrible.
It doesn't- I don't-
No, you
I
guys are really
disagree.
bad at
It's
talking
such-
about movies. Like,
I just think you're giving this movie way too much
Yeah,
credit to even make the comparison
what do you
between
mean?
the bride and that
All right.
character.
Yeah. Well, are you really gonna stand here and defend the bride from Kill Bill?
Yeah,
exactly.
Like Beatrix
exactly.
Kiddo.
So anyway.
All right. So yeah,
anyway.
Mean Guns,
I don't
best
know
movie of
why
all
it-
time, should have been
It's
on the
just-
S
It's
tier.
an archetype
No, no,
movie.
no,
It's
hold
just
on.
an
There's
archetype
a bunch of
movie.
stuff
Like,
here.
I don't know
There's a
why you're
bunch of stuff
derailing me on this. It's an archetype movie. It's
there's
got like,
hold up. There's one point in this movie where eventually a bunch of them team up, 4 of them team up, and Chris Lambert, for a long time, proceeds to explain which numbers he prefers, in that 4 is better than 3. And
Yeah.
he says that multiple times and just elaborates that, 4, I like 4 better than 3.
That's the problem with I think that's the main problem I have with the writing as a whole, is that I think the writers think the audience is too stupid, so they have the same conversation happen several times, or they reiterate the same point within the same conversation at least 2 or 3 different times.
well, hey, you guys remember math class when you would like do a question and the teacher would come over and review it and like try to show you how to do the work to do it correctly?
Yeah.
That whole scene is like doing that while the teacher is holding a gun at your head. It seems to be 3 minutes of someone not understanding that 3 is less than 4, and at the end of it, it's like we all understood that 3 is less than 4. I was just thinking about the fact that you're a psycho murderer, and I might not want to walk around this prison with you, but you've got me. Like, I don't know. The movie is bad. I just don't think that you can jump that far ahead without giving the context of, like, every character in this movie is awful.
Yeah.
They're all, like, just terrible, awful people and don't deserve any redemption.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the problem. Like, with a problem with a film like this. Who are you? There's these 2 really great characters that you can root for without feeling too bad. And I'd love for Brennan to
Twins.
to describe that. Yeah, the twins. The twins. They are.
I don't know. I mean, they're not literally twins at all.
No, one of them's Asian and one of them is like, I don't know, Midwestern.
Looks
Something
Scottish.
like that.
Yeah,
Scottish.
Midwestern. What? Yeah. So
but
like,
they talk like it. They finish each other's sentences and then repeat the words.
Yeah.
Like one of them will be like
songs together.
One of them will they dance in the elevator. One of them will be like, yeah, that guy doesn't have a single iota in him. And he goes, yeah, not a single, iota. That's a good word, iota. And like they just kind of like finish sentences with the other person's words or whatever.
And guess
They're
what?
funny. They're very enjoyable.
Guess what? What causes a wedge between them? A fucking woman.
Bros before
So
hoes.
yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
It's just, but so you have like
Simps
these
for
really, yeah, incel nation.
Volcel, baby.
Volcel nation.
Volcel nation.
Well, shout out to my hands and my
Incels don't know what's
balls. Yeah, so you have like two people who are very enjoyable to watch. They get some great action in. And there's like, after we leave the opening area, which is just like Ice-T killing people, our main characters running, and a lot of Mamba music.
Yeah.
Like,
Not
once
to
we
mention
get out of there-
not to mention the constant discount ecstasy of gold cue that they keep using.
Yes. So there's so much awful like shit going on. They are very enjoyable to follow. Our main characters suck. Our main characters are not fun. Our main characters, like, the action around them is bad. Around the twins, the action is good. Around Ice-T, the action is good. Even the woman in like the leopard print shawl, like, even the action around her is good. But like Chris Lambert's,
Lambert.
To Rob's point about the main characters being bad, at one point when Chris Lambert meets the three good guys, I don't know, like the two girls and the guy or whatever.
Yeah.
At one point, after a very tense exchange, he refers to the one, the black-haired girl, the brunette.
Yeah.
He says, "This will help you build character." Literally saying, like, this will develop your character because your character is underwritten and we need to figure you out as this whole thing goes along, which just blew my mind. That's how bad they suck, is that they're literally saying to each other, we gotta, hopefully something comes out of this because you are nothing right now.
Well, and they like do very little with any of the characters to establish backstory.
Yeah.
Except for our two main boys, Chris Lambert and our British fellow, our main chap over there.
Who is that guy? He's familiar.
I thought for a second before he started talking, I thought he was Robert Forster because they got a similar kind of face.
He's nobody.
Oh, wow.
If he's in this movie, he's nobody.
No, it's definitely not Robert Forster.
Yeah.
But they look kind of alike.
It was like a British Ben Mendelsohn.
He chopped the boards. He trotted the boards. He used to trot the boards with Michael Caine. I don't know, man. So they are our only two characters with any real backstory. And the backstory is this. Chris Lambert, I guess, had a family, and this guy, our British chap, killed his family and raped his daughter. Mm-hmm. And now,
Ice-T says that towards the end of the movie.
That's the backstory, and that's why Chrissy has been trying to kill. Like, that's why they've been having the weird energy all movie, is because, and that's also why our British fellow, very like off the bat when the game starts, takes aim and tries to kill Lambert. So that's why there's so much tension throughout that whole thing. But if you're like me or anyone else watching this movie, by the time Ice-T tells you that, you're done paying attention.
Yeah.
You are like out of the movie entirely.
Yeah.
And so there's your two characters with story. Our blonde female action hero at one point says like, the brunette character who's like just an accountant or something is like, where'd you learn to do all this?
Oh,
And the blonde-haired girl is like,
this fucking line.
it's all I've ever wanted to do, you know. I did everything I could to do this, and what I didn't know, your government taught me. And then she walks off screen, and it's the most disgusting.
Real quick, can we take a second to talk about the lines? That line is horrid. Can we just take a second to talk about some of these lines we got going on here? At one point, the twins refer to the girl who, I don't know her name, but she almost got gangbanged. Barbie, that's right. At one point they say, shut your piss flaps, which I really, really found repulsive. At another point, Chris Lambert, somebody says, like, you know, you got a really warped mind or whatever, and he goes, warped? You want warped? Watch MTV.
Oh, yeah.
In reference to MTV Warped, and it's like, what the fuck is going on here?
He says, you want warped? You want warped? Watch MTV. That's warped, man. Like,
Yeah. And then there's one point where, this is towards the end, the blonde badass is very upset, and Chris Lambert, and he goes, piss in your mouth, all I care.
Well, I got a couple of quotes I wrote. So there is a moment after the scene where the blonde woman is trying to force the brunette girl to kill a guy.
Yeah.
That
whole scene is hilarious.
So Rob and I were talking about this earlier. Yeah.
So Chris Lambert comes out of nowhere in the middle of that scene and just shoots the guy dead to get the whole thing over with. And he's like, sorry, I just couldn't help myself but shoot him. And Brent and I both watching this blonde-haired, pale European-looking guy kill a black guy, and it's the line the actual line is, sorry, I couldn't help myself, he was black. I mean, that's how it comes across. So,
basically.
But also,
whenever I see a black guy,
immediately after that, something happens where Chris Lambert just says, oh, I'm depressed now, as they walk out of a room after killing people. But there's one I really want to bring up. It's a British chap. At one point near the end, when they're strategizing a way to win the tourney, he comes out with a story, a nursery rhyme of sorts.
Goldilocks.
And this is not the first time this British child rapist has referenced nursery rhymes. And it's a spin on the classic Goldilocks and the Three Bears, except this time the bears are cannibals. They're cannibalistic bears.
Cannibalistic bears.
It's the most wild shit.
I do have one more. And I actually think this one takes the cake.
Okay.
It's Ice-T. Mm-hmm. It's at the end of the movie. And he lets it out. He goes, redemption time, people. Time for some good old-fashioned redemption.
Yeah, I mean, it is just...
You can't use both words in the definition. You can't.
So they do something that's pretty cool. I want to bring up a couple of things I did just real quick before we get
the hair on fire.
Okay, well, that is.
And also putting the head through the metal lock,
straight through the wall. Yeah. I gotta say. And Brennan texted me when it happened, and I think this is what he was talking about. When they redistribute everyone's weapons, because on everyone's way into the prison, they take everyone's guns away.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they redistribute the weapons, they just drop all the weapons from a balcony onto the floor below. And all of this is ridiculous to see this in an action film. This is a serious movie, supposedly. all the characters pick up their
There's a child
guns.
rapist in this movie.
Exactly. There's a child rapist in this movie, and you have comic relief. So all these people pick up their respective guns, and they start pulling the triggers, and nothing is happening. And what they do
keep
is
going.
they shoot an action sequence where people are shooting guns as if it should be like people dying, but everyone's just like, why is my gun not shooting? And then they dump all the ammunition out over the balcony like individual rounds. I think that's a cool thing in a movie, to be like, it's bad comic relief in a weirdly serious film, but it is like a good like, what do you know? Red herring.
I think it's way. Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. It's subversion or whatever.
Right.
I think it's way funnier just to dump a bunch of fucking fully loaded guns off the thing, and then they all kill all the people that rush to it first. Yeah, exactly. I think that's so funny.
That's what I thought was
really
going to happen.
with that.
Yeah.
That seems like it.
Well,
yeah.
Hold on. Let's that opening scene where Ice-T and his goons are up on the balcony and everyone is in the room with no guns. Just end the movie right there, Ice-T.
Yeah.
You can end the movie right then and there. It's like the other thing is like you're opening this prison is going to be opened tomorrow, and there's now blood, there's fucking gunfire in the walls. There's a woman with her head in a locker on fire.
And, who do you think's gonna have to clean that up?
The syndicate. The fucking syndicate is gonna have to clean it up.
No, prison labor is slave labor, Rob. All right, that's what I'm trying to get at here. Okay, we can't be forcing them to do that. That's fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, there's bad stuff in this movie.
Yeah,
no, I mean, with the bad stuff, that little girl, dude, I fucking, oh my god,
yeah,
I hated every scene with that little girl.
Did you guys
dragged on so much in the last 40 minutes? I mean, for sure. It was so brutal. What the fuck, dude?
Did you guys get the impression that she was like blind for at least the first few times they introduce her because she like has the sunglasses the whole time?
I mean, maybe up until the point where she like walks her way through this maze of a prison to find the woman in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
This child navigates a maximum security prison to find the one alive person left.
Wait, but here's the other thing. Why is the movie like... So the child rapist was like nice to the kid and like didn't just drive away and like child rape the kid and like...
Well, he would have gotten sniped.
Because the gate doesn't open until
Ice-T dies.
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, that is like such a good point of I'm not
who's
opening that gate.
I'm not trying to like make it easier for this dude to like fuck a kid, to put it bluntly, to put it like just gently or whatever. But I am just saying, like, if this guy's got that shit on his resume, he's like acting super out of character. By how do I not fucking a kid when he's got access to a kid? I mean, like, I'm not okay.
You're saying that like the second he got to the car near the end of the movie, he should have been like, all right, I know I'm in a game where I have to kill everyone and be killed, but there is a child here.
Jesus Christ.
I'm proud to say, listen, maybe that's not the way that they think, but I'm proud to say I don't know too much about the way that they think, is all I'm saying. I can only make assumptions. If you're giving pushback on that, I've got questions for you, okay?
Oh, man.
I want to just up is supposedly like 100 people entered, right?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, no, it's like that.
So like 100 people entered, right? And feasibly all of them die by the time we get to our final kind of conflict, right?
Right.
And then an army of 60 new people show up in the prison with guns, totally unexplained, and are just killed off by our main characters. And then they never talk about where those 60 guys were, who are all teamed up. It's like 60 is better than 4. They've got you beaten. Like, I don't fucking know. But that is like, that's that thing with this movie where it's like, God, you guys didn't pay any attention.
I didn't even pick up on it being a separate group. I didn't even.
It's like
a bunch
of, but that's the thing. It's like a massive group of people organized, like that have all like ganged up. So it's like, why haven't we seen, like, what have these guys been doing that they've like been able to form this large group of people without any infighting, that they've made it all the way to the end? Because listen, I know in battle royale games, if there's like, if you can kill your teammates, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Like, they've got ammo, you're in the final ring, like there's one other squad. Mm-hmm. That's my point. It's like, I don't know where these extra guys came from. It seems like they just fluffed up the middle of the movie and they just were like, we got to tack on a bunch of action right here in the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I say this? I actually have literally nothing else to say about the movie unless there's something. Unless there's something you guys bring up.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with where we're.
I have to. This is what I have to say. I didn't get an HD copy of this movie. I don't know. I don't know if one exists.
I don't think so.
Looks like shit.
Yeah.
I have it's really rough. And I mean, I guess
not just the transfer, because like I definitely thought that too. There's definitely moments where it's like, oh, there's like dust that pops up randomly, and like it's just everything's overexposed and shitty looking. But there's
the lighting is crazy.
But there's flat out moments. There's scenes where early on, namely where like before Chris Lambert shows up, where it's like the British guy and the two chicks, where there's like 2 or 3 scenes. Yeah, she's completely out of frame.
Exactly.
It blew my mind. It just
No, and then there's a crazy sequence where Chris Lambert is like going nuts, and he's seeing all it's all shot in red. And I just have written down oh great, now the movie's harder to fucking watch. This is I can't tell at all what's going on right now.
For like 10 minutes they. Oh well, here's one thing I actually want to touch on before we finish it up.
Okay.
Chris Lambert's character supposedly is on a ludicrous cocktail of Prozac, Ritalin, and what was the other one, Brian? Valium. Yeah. And so it's like this character...
All pretty normal medication.
Yeah, okay, but this character who for sure isn't prescribed that cocktail medication is just hallucinating his ass off the whole movie. And we only get a couple minutes of it where he sees a sniper. No, the whole movie should have been more of him.
The Angel of Death sniper?
We see the Angel of Death sniper, and then we see his creepy dead, kid in a hallway. And it's I think the movie should just all be Chris Lambert hallucinating as he runs through this prison killing people. That's a more interesting movie.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. That's and a shame that we'll never get it. I'm
about to hop on that cocktail myself. So.
Maybe that can be the movie that I finally I make that you guys produce. We'll do Mean Guns, the good version.
That sounds horrible.
Fortnite the movie. But,
yeah, I don't want. I'll make it, but I don't want my name on it.
So Mean Guns, meh at its very best, meh.
Let's put it on the tier list. Where is it on the tier list?
I'd give it an F. I just don't.
Well, I think let's talk about Jacob, I agree, but let's also think about it in the context of so bad it's good, or whatever,
Oh well, and also we get a really. I will stand by Ice-T's performance.
Okay.
As much as I would stand by any other of my favorite actors.
And we can go into how he's a vampire with super strength. And
then they had to kill him with silver desert eagles.
And exactly. And they specify that his teeth aren't made of silver; they're made of platinum.
They're made of platinum. Oh, that's such a good point. Oh my god! It's a vampire movie.
My god!
Crazy. And then I said this to Rob, it's not a cross because a cross would burn him.
Yes.
It's a T because it's iced tea. And so
it's just what iced tea. That's literally that's the other thing. That's not a costume. That's just what Ice-T was wearing in 1997.
Yeah. No, God. That's what it is.
So then what are we feeling on this tier list? Do we want to give it?
So bad it's good?
How about we do this? We didn't assign a single title to the E tier. Do we want to just lump it right in there? Okay.
Yes, E for Edward. Team Edward. Vampires. Done.
I agree with that. Robert Pattinson is way better than Taylor Lautner.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, speaking of so bad it's good. Actually, really quick. So, if for whatever reason our conversation has intrigued you enough to watch Mean Guns and you haven't yet, you can rent it on most platforms. I watched it on YouTube for like $4, which I think is $4 more than it's worth.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. But, fuck Amazon.
But
and wait! I didn't look, but I bet you can find it on Pornhub.
Probably.
I'm still saying, just go on Pornhub. You'll find it. I bet you'll find it.
And if you don't, there's a bunch of like really neat videos on there.
yeah. I'm sure you'll find something.
There's something for everybody.
Yeah.